All right, everybody. One of the best things about Google Docs is its ability to help you collaborate and work with other people on the same doc. So you probably already know that Google Docs, they exist online. They're like little websites, essentially. And so any changes you make to them are made live and in the moment. So you can actually sit here and type and watch the typing happen on somebody else's computer, which is pretty awesome, or in somebody else's dock. So what I want to do is show you some of the awesome collaboration and sharing tools and stuff that you have at your fingertips. Now, what I've got is I've got the same doc open in two tabs, right? So in this tab, this is the student tab, and you know that because it has a little HM here for Hill Murray, and it says editing. Now this tab, this is going to be our teacher, and here's the teacher, and here it says suggesting. So that tells you right away what permissions you have if a doc is shared with you. Are you an editor? Can you only suggest? In some cases, you might see something over here that says view only, and you won't have any of these formatting tools. There are different ways to share a doc with somebody. So we're going to really briefly go into those. The way that you share a document, if you wanted to get a document to somebody else, there are a couple of ways of doing it, but they usually begin right here with this share button. You're going to click it, and a little box pops up, and basically most of it can be done right here. It says anyone with a link can comment, and you simply copy this link and email it to somebody. That's one way. Another way you can do it is you can go down here and you can type in somebody's email address like that, and then you can use this little sorting bar to choose what level of permission you want to give them. So they can edit, they can comment, they can view. All of those are acceptable. If you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of things, you can go to the advanced button, and you can really come up with some interesting things, because you can have different people with different permissions. So you can have one person who is allowed to edit and one person who is allowed to view, but you can also change what are known as the global settings for the doc by clicking this button up here. It says right now anyone with a link can comment. I can change that to anyone on the web, anyone at Hill Murray. I can turn it off for privacy, and then I can flip it here. So it's kind of like these are little sentence stems you're putting together. So I could say like anybody on the web can comment, or I can go anybody with a link can view, and then I just hit save. And we've talked a little bit about settings and stuff in other videos, so that's kind of the basics for sharing. Now, once you've shared a document with somebody and they're on it, you're going to see this right here. You're going to see their face on your doc to show that they're currently in there, and you're also going to see this little cursor. If you're trying to figure out where they are in your doc, you can actually click this, and it'll take you to right where they are. That's kind of helpful. So if you're working with a partner on like a giant doc and you can't find where they are, they're saying, hey, look, there's a mistake here, and you're like, where is the mistake? You can click this, and it'll take you to where they are actively in the doc. Now, editing means that they can go in and they can change things just like they're you. And you may not want to give somebody that kind of permission, and so it's really good to give them either suggesting or commenting permissions. Suggestions are actually a really helpful tool to help you make edits quicker. So what it is so right now I remember I'm the teacher, and I'm the teacher looking at this, and I might say, you know, I think that you need to add something else to this. And or I'm looking over the document, and I might say, oh, right here, it says that you've said that Venus is the fourth planet from the sun, and it's actually the second. So in suggestion mode, what I can do is I can highlight something that I think needs to be changed, and I can change it. And what you'll see is, do you see that it says I replaced the 2 with the 4, and there's these green boxes around it? So I haven't actually edited the document. It isn't actually changed. It's just a suggestion I'm making to the owner. And then I can come down here and say, well, you should really have a period after each one of your sentences. Yeah, that's pretty funny. But I think you should also add something about Venus can be seen with the naked eye, like that, because I think that's a pretty good thing to add. So those are suggestions that I just made. Now I'm going to flip back to what the student is seeing on their end, and they see all of these comments right here that I've made, and I can actually see them in red. I see, oh, I made that mistake. That's true. But what you can do is, instead of going in and correcting them yourself, all you have to do is just hit the little check mark, and it automatically makes the change. So see here, it has 2 crossed out with 4. If I say, oh yeah, I like that, I'm going to accept that suggestion, it automatically changes it on my doc. even though that's actually still incorrect. It should be second, but that's okay. So you can automatically accept them, or if you decide, I don't actually think that that's that interesting of a fact, I'm going to reject it, it goes away. And then it also tells somebody, it sends them notifications when you've made the revision. So if your teacher goes in and makes a bunch of revisions to your document, you don't actually have to email them and say, I'm done. They automatically get those. There's one other editing tool that I think is super helpful, and that's the comment button. This is right here is the comment button. It's right next between the picture and the link button. So let's say you wanted to make a comment. I, as again, the teacher, want to make a comment to this student. What I would do is I would put my cursor where I want the comment to be. And I would go ahead and click the comment button, and then I can say, you need to add one more fact, and then I hit comment. What that does is it brings up a comment that then, again, I'm going to flip back to the student view. I, as the student, see and go, oh, I need to add one more comment. And what I can do is when I add my one more comment, okay, or when I add my one more fact in this case, I go over to the comment, I hit resolve. That makes it go away. You can see that it's no longer highlighted. But more importantly, it lets me know, in this case, whoever made the comment, in this case, my teacher, through email, it lets them know that I've made the revisions. So when you're using commenting and sharing settings and all of those things, you don't have to worry about alerting people to the changes you're making. There's one more thing I want to show you. Let's say that you're sharing a document with somebody and they really goof around or they delete a ton of it. Now you can hit the back button, but let's say let's say you're working on a document for like 4 days and you want to go back to the version you had on day 2 because it's just not going well and you want to start over without having to completely recreate the document. Right here you'll see that there's all changes saved in Drive. Changes that you make are saved in real time. There's no save button, really, on this. Because all the changes are saved immediately. But if you want to go back, I can hit this. I clicked it and it brings up the revision history. And I can go back in time and I can look at different versions of this document. So I can actually see the entire history of it. And it tells me what's happened. It shows me the changes that are made here. Like for example, here's one version where I had just the one. At 3:30 I had just the one. Now at 3:33 I'd added a couple others. So maybe I want to keep this version because I think this is just too messy or whatever. I select the version I want, and if I hit restore, it is actually going to restore that version of the document. So if you lose it, if it's deleted, if you really mess it up, if you just want to start over, you can use that to make it better. So those are just a couple of tricks for editing in Google Docs.